Can you move your seat up?
No.
One of the most anticipated Disney Plus shows streaming this year is, of course, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. After receiving the shield from Steve Rogers, Sam and Bucky are teaming up to continue fighting the good fight, and Helmut Zemo returns from Captain America: Civil War, along with some new enemies. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 small details in Falcon and the Winter Soldier only true fans noticed. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Celeb Mania. Make sure you stay until number 1, as you don't want to miss on knowing more details on Ayo, who is one of the most conflicted characters in the show. Number 10. Tony Stark. Iron Man, Tony Stark, sacrificed himself at the end of Avengers Endgame to stop Thanos and save the universe. Even though he is dead, his name lives on and loomed over the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The events of Episode 1 took place 6 months after Endgame. The first mention of Tony Stark, Iron Man, came from First Lieutenant Joaquin Torres, an intel officer who works closely with Sam. After successfully rescuing the military liaison, Sam and Torres took a break in Tunisia. There, Torres referred to Sam's Redwing drone as Stark-level tech. The second mention of the late superhero came from the Stark Truck loan officer who refused to let Sam and his sister Sarah take out a loan. After asking Sam if Stark ever paid him for his superhero efforts, he quickly offered his condolences. Number 9. Bucky's Trauma. Sam is not the only one struggling to find his place in the world after the blip. After spending decades as an instrument of war, Bucky is finally seeking mental treatment. Marvel heroes need therapy too. People have messed with his brain over many decades. Bucky is a 106-year-old man, and he's gone from one fight to the next. His time as a human weapon may have ended, but the mental scars he has have left him broken. The movies may have glossed over Bucky's atrocities, but the comics are far more detailed regarding the Winter Soldier's dark past. Thankfully, the series explores these moments and shows how this hero deals with the pain he's endured. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier will force Bucky Barnes to unpack his decades of being a brainwashed assassin. Number 8. Eli Bradley. Episode 2 featured the debut of Eli Bradley, who might be a major character going forward. The boy was not called by his name on Episode 2, but in the credits, he was listed as Eli Bradley. In the comics, Eli is the grandson of Isaiah. He was not born with special abilities, but developed them after receiving a blood transfusion from his grandpa. He took on the name Patriot and fought in the group known as the Young Avengers. Fans believe that they are setting up the Young Avengers. This is due to characters like Tommy and Billy showing up on WandaVision, who go by Wiccan and Speed in the source material. It's already been confirmed that Haley Steinfeld is playing Archer Kate Bishop in the upcoming Hawkeye series, and the third Ant-Man movie is going to include Cassie Lang, taking on the superhero named Stature. All these characters, including Eli, are part of the Young Avengers in the comics. Why is Elijah important? It is because in the comics, he's known as Patriot, a Captain America character, and a member of the Young Avengers. Number 7. Mention of Siberia. When Bucky told Sam that he wanted to visit Zemo to get some answers about the super soldiers, he said, "Don't you remember Siberia?" This was a direct reference to the events that took place in Siberia near the end of Civil War. During the movie, Steve and Bucky followed Zemo to Siberia, where a bunch of super soldiers were frozen in cryogenic chambers. Steve and Bucky assumed that Zemo was going to wake the soldiers and unleash them, but instead he killed them because he did not want more super soldiers in the world. Zemo framed Bucky because he hoped that it would spark the destruction of the Avengers from within. After Tony saw the footage of Bucky killing his parents and stealing Howard Stark's super soldier serum in 1991, a fight broke out among Iron Man, Captain America, and Bucky. Iron Man blasted Bucky's metal arm off, and Steve disabled Tony's arc reactor with his shield. Meanwhile, T'Challa stopped Zemo just as he was about to commit suicide with a gun, and the foe was apprehended. Though Zemo was locked up, he seemed confident that his grand plan was not a failure. Number 6. Steve's Notebook. The notebook that Bucky uses to write his list of names in is the same one Steve jotted notes in, after he returned to society after being on ice for 70 years. When Bucky's book was introduced on the series premiere of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it seemed like a parallel to the notebook Steve previously used to keep track of things he missed in pop culture for several decades. But Episode 3 of the show revealed that Bucky is using the same book that Steve owned. "I've seen that book," Sam said when Zemo brought up the item while on the plane. He also said it was actually Steve's notebook when he came out of the ice. "I told him about Trouble Man. He wrote it in that book." Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man was in fact jotted down in the notebook at the start of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Number 5. Isaiah Bradley. Episode 2 introduced a black super soldier named Isaiah Bradley, whom comic book fans will recognize. Bucky revealed to Sam that Isaiah was a hero who was feared by Hydra, similar to Steve. Bucky and Isaiah met in 1951, when Isaiah was sent to fight him in Goyang. He was so strong that he ended up taking off half of Bucky's metal arm that Hydra gave him. On The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Bucky visited Isaiah in Maryland because he and Sam needed to learn how it's possible for more super soldiers, who call themselves flag smashers, to be on the loose. Angrily, Isaiah said that he was put in jail for 30 years, despite being a hero. People also ran tests on him and took his blood. In the comics, Isaiah became enhanced when he was experimented on at Camo Cathcart as part of Project Rebirth, the super soldier program that turned Steve into a fighter. Isaiah was known as Black Captain America, but similar to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the public was not made aware of his heroic efforts, and he was imprisoned. Number 4. Dr. Wilfred Nagle. Dr. Wilfred Nagle is another character name taken from the comic books. Basically, what you need to know is that in the comics, Nagle was a scientist who worked on Project Rebirth, aka the project that tried to create more super soldiers during World War II. Nagle even mentions in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier that he is the first scientist since Erskine, who was in Captain America the First Avenger, to recreate the serum, which happens in the comics too. Dr. Nagle successfully made the super soldier serum created by Dr. Erskine in Captain America the First Avenger. In the 2011 movie, Dr. Erskine was shot by a German spy shortly after Steve emerged as a super soldier, following a successful procedure. On The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Dr. Nagle said that he was able to create the serum stolen by the Flag Smashers by isolating compounds from Isaiah's blood samples. Number 3. The new Captain America participated in an interview for Good Morning America. The song performed by the marching band during Episode 2 was a new version of the original Cap's Star Spangled Man song from the first movie. The track was heard in Captain America the First Avenger during a montage showing Steve traveling across the US in his first Cap suit to encourage people to support war efforts. On The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a more upbeat, modern rendition was performed by the Captain America Drum Corps as John Walker stepped onto a field, interacted with fans in the stands, and sat down for an interview on Good Morning America. Number 2. Zemos Return. Another name on the list is H. Zemo, possibly referring to Captain America Civil War villain Helmut Baron Zemo. Zemo was the main villain of Captain America the Winter Soldier. He wanted to eradicate superheroes after the Avengers ended up being responsible for the deaths of his family members in Sokovia. The Winter Soldier was a key person in his plan to turn the Avengers on each other. Fans already know that Zemo will return as the antagonist in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, still on a mission to eliminate superheroes. Number 1. Ayos Appearance in Episode 3 End Scene. Most notable development was Ayos' appearance during the episode's final scene. Ayo, played by Florence Kasumba, was last seen battling Thanos' forces during the Battle of Wakanda. Ayo, a member of the Dora Milaje, Wakanda's elite female bodyguard unit led by Okoye, had likely come to Latvia for Zemo. The Sokovian Baron was responsible for the assassination of King T'Chaka in Captain America Civil War. At the end of that film, T'Challa, who had vowed revenge throughout his hunt for Zemo, whom he realized was responsible and not the framed Bucky, decided against retribution and stopped Zemo from killing himself. Zemo went to prison. Wakanda apparently was satisfied. Perhaps what we are seeing in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a rogue element of Wakanda's leadership. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these two videos on your screen. We'll see you there.